Hey, Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here. I'm going to do a reaction to the Nintendo Direct. I was supposed to have this morning, dropping my next coverage of Mandalorian, the one where I'm really going to bring the salt. But Nintendo Direct is launching a thing, so no adventures in locksmithing this morning. Know that, like, this take precedence. It's super early. I'm already hot and sweating in the morning. What are my predictions in this? Well, I'm predicting that we'll actually see some Sonic stuff. Sonic Superstars, I think that's big enough, and Sonic is so big on Nintendo that this. Now, this Nintendo Direct is bigger, and I want to do a reaction because this would be their E3 presentation. That's what time slot we're in right now. So this should be the one that wows us. And this is what we're going to compare to the showcases that were done from Microsoft and PlayStation. So Nintendo really has to bring it in this one to not look outdated. I'm thinking we're going to get something Donkey Kong. I really do. That is kind of my guess. I know there's supposed to be a Super Nintendo remaster or remake. That is the big rumor. I was watching Side Scrolls and they were talking about Donkey Kong Country. And Donkey Kong Country is one of my favorite platformers of all time. It's in there. It's definitely in the top 10 for me. When you're talking about classic side-scrolling platformers. And they've got the engine for, like, the new, like, Tropical Freeze and stuff like that. The new Donkey Kong Country Returns. If they took that model and shot for shot remade the original trilogy, I think it would do gangbusters. Because that game blew our minds away. And I had Donkey Kong Land on the Game Boy, and that blew my mind away. But, like, the 3D model of that at the time really blew minds away. And people have a little bit of nostalgia glasses on it. But at the same time, I would say that the reason why people say it looks bad now is because they're looking at it at this, like, 4K huge high def TV, and that game looks so much better when it's on an older TV that's progressive, whatever the retro game, like the way TVs were before, and how, like, the light and all that, it made images actually look better because that's what that art was made for. And when you blow it up, crystallize it on high def, I think it's a game that, unlike, like, the Mario games on the SNES and, like, Sonic games of that time period, where, like, it's very clean matte finishes, and they can they can highlight that, and they can import that and upscale that. Because of what this did to make it unique in those 3D models, when you blow that up and you high def that, then it starts to look really bad. But if you go and play it on an older TV, it still looks great. It still looks great. It is a great, amazing game. So, but I think visually, putting it into a new high def 3D model, but keeping all the exact gameplay, everything as it was, I just think it would take this wealth of games. It would be huge. No level layout design needed. They're just taking and recreating all the old assets. It's like there is no concept art. All the concept art is done. They just have the old game. They just look at that game, remake it. I know it's not that simple, but it really goes to show that, like a lot of the work is already done. I just think that would be an excellent game. Metroid. But here's the thing. I actually don't think we're going to get Metroid, just because I have a feeling that next year we're going to get a new Switch, and Metroid has gone long enough in development that, while I think, like, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, they're going to have, like, an even better version for Switch 2, and that's going to be the cross. I really think that Metroid Prime 4 is specifically the reason why they've been so silent on it, is it is quietly become a Switch 2 project. And they're making it, and they don't want to say a thing about it. They don't want to show it off until like they're announcing the Switch 2, and then that's going to be the game that's going to wow us and be like, there's no way that happens on the Switch. And I just have it the same, like people want a Mario Odyssey 2. I also think like they're not going to do that. I could see a new 2D Mario, possibly, but the new Super Mario Brothers, I think they drove that franchise into the ground. That I don't know. I would love for them to do a Sonic Mania and go back and just like take the old Super Mario World art and make a brand new game with a lot of new things. But Nintendo doesn't do a lot of that go backwards stuff like that. For as much as the nostalgia, though the new Super Mario Brothers, like it has become that, it has become repetitive, which is something that Nintendo usually isn't. Of course, I want Star Fox, I want F-Zero, I want all these things, but I don't think any of that is going to happen. So, some Donkey Kong, maybe some Mario, probably going to be some Zelda DLC, even though that game just came out. I don't. Pokemon usually does its own thing, its own direct, so but they didn't do that. They usually do that first. They do like a couple months before they do a Pokemon direct so that they don't have to bog up the Nintendo Direct or Pokemon. But those are kind of my predictions. We're gonna get something Mario spin-off, something with Mario in it. Whether Mario Baseball or whatever, who knows? But something Mario. I'm really thinking Donkey Kong is the big surprise. And then, long shot of Metroid. I'd also love a 3D Donkey Kong. That's been rumored for a while. I would love the follow-up to Mario Odyssey to be actually a Donkey Kong game. And like the Odyssey engine. I would love a 3D exploring world Donkey Kong game. Which they haven't really tried since Donkey Kong 64. And really, there's so much they can improve on from that. So, let's just get into this. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, there's the sound. I was worried I didn't have sound. The not E3 direct. Okay, we're gonna have some Pokemon here. Okay. Probably looks like the same Pokemon, so I'm assuming DLC. The more we see of these Pokemon, the more I'm just like, I really wish they'd update the models. Like, the art style's just not doing it for me. It was a little off in Pokemon Let's Go, but like, I just really want so much more. And I saw that trailer for Dokkaebi, and it's like, that's what I want from Pokemon now. And this does look good. This does look interesting. And I probably should give this game a try. I just, one, don't have the time for Pokemon. But now, like, I don't know. The characters just look so much weirder and that. Oh, let me turn that fan off. And I guess they have more personality now in the character models, but they're still very basic for like one of the #1 franchises in the world. That they don't seem to have the money to improve this. Okay, that character's cool looking. Is it like a big bear dog thing? Is that a new Pokemon? And we're at that point where all these legendary Pokemons, there's so many of them, it's no longer that special. Keep going on. SSAN. The Indigo Disc, Part 2. Okay, good competition. That's nice. Oh, those are cool. Two dogs. The Pokemon motorcycle is just too much for me. Okay, that was some past. See, even though I don't know the names, because I only really played the first 2 gens, I do recognize some of these Pokemon. It's been so long since I've truly played a new Pokemon experience that it'd be interesting to get back in and see if I could connect with it. Once again, is that some special Pokemon? Teal Mask, Indigo Disc. Takahashi and Kazumi. I like Kazumi. He's got a flair to him. It's hard to get excited for paid DLC for a game you haven't bought. You know, the game interests me. There was a lot of controversy about this game when it launched. Just once again, it goes to, for as much money as the Pokemon company makes, they can't seem to catch up with the rest of the gaming industry, and that's just kind of sad. You expect more out of them. Okay. Oh, Sonic! Superstars! We're gonna see some new footage. Well, that's cool. I like how he was floating there. Oops. Knack! We finally got the 3D model of Knack. Yeah, Knuckles. I am excited. So I now know that the Amy Hammer thing is like her drop dash. That's how you activate it. Man, the special stages are weird. Okay, so that's from the Chaos Emeralds. We know that now. Okay, that's less impressive power. And Conquer Water, one of Sonic's biggest enemies. Now, if there's a Chaos Emerald that conquers the camera angle, that would be really cool. Oh, more Knack? Okay. I like the Badniks that are bigger as bosses. Let's go. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting that. Day 1 purchase for me.
Create the idyllic life of your dreams alongside in-game characters and players from all over the world.
Interesting.
Build houses, decorate your home plot, grow crops in your garden, and more. Play with other residents in online co-op or carve out your blissful life.
When I was a kid, stuff like Adventure Sims, like Myst and stuff like that, was cool on the PC, but
just kick back and relax at home. How you live is entirely up to you. What kind of
I don't know, as an adult, I just don't have the time, and these games are so slow paced. For me to get into it on my limited playtime is kind of hard. If I was a cat person, nothing else in that world made me think that there'd be cat people, but there was a cat person. It felt very grounded. That. Oh, more Persona. I'm a Sega fanboy, so I have to care about this, even though I've never played a Persona game. I do find it funny that, like, you know, you've got, like, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, and, like, Persona has, like, just rocketed itself up there to be on the same level in just a couple years. Like, it's a long-running brand, but it, like, only mattered. And, like, Sega picked the right time to buy them. Like, right before they blew up. Right before they blew up big. They look colorful. They look fun. But I'm very limited on the RPGs that I'll do. Pokemon's one, but it's like to get into a new brand of RPG is just way too hard for me because like there's too much to do. Not enough time. I'm a working man. Finding the time for this. I see Craig. I got the notification he's going live. So is that it? Is this He-Man? Just say He-Man. This is totally inspired by He-Man. This is like, I bet they made this game thinking they would get the license to He-Man, and they didn't get the license to He-Man. So, it's inspired by all Saturday morning, but this is He-Man. This is what this art style is. This looks like, what was the old arcade game that was like this? But it's a roguelike in 3D. That's kind of interesting, you know? Power, like, Grayskull, you know? Yeah, we know what it's inspired by. That looked interesting. I'm not going to play it, but I like the art style. Okay, Splatoon. I have a problem with Splatoon. I want an offline mode. I had Splatoon 1, and then I had Splatoon 2 on the Switch. But you know what? Now they're on Splatoon 3, those old games, you can't play them really because there's nobody in the lobbies. And I don't have the greatest internet connection. I just want an offline mode. The game is fun, but I'm not an online game player, and it's just like, it's weird that Nintendo, like, I get it but like, even like Call of Duty games have an offline mode, have a story mode. But even the story mode in these games require you to be connected to the internet, and that's all I want is like an offline campaign that I can just enjoy the game, and then maybe I'll play the multiplayer on a but like I don't really want to be the noob going in on multiplayer, playing with the people that don't know, and then not having people in my skill level available. This Pikachu. Okay, Pokemon. Oh, I saw Lickitung there. The Scorbunny. Pikachu. Oh, a Detective Pikachu. Is it a remake? That's not Danny DeVito from the first game. Nor is it Ryan Reynolds from the movie. They could get a third voice for Detective Pikachu? Love the coffee jokes. I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm allergic to coffee beans. I'm a coffee bean intolerant. My wife hates it when I call it allergic. I think I'm more interested in this than I am the actual Pokemon game.
I sure wish somebody would bring me some coffee.
Detective Pikachu returns. I never played the original on 3DS, but more coffee. Little girl like that. Pikachu that has her spirit and soul of coffee drinker. It's interesting, you know. They didn't make Tim Asian like he is in the movie. Okay, what we got coming next? Oh, Super Mario RPG's coming to the Nintendo Switch Online. Okay. Remaster or sequel? Remaster or sequel? Remaster, it looks like. Okay. We know what that means, right? Geno for Smash! Gotta have Geno for Smash. You got Mario RPG coming back. Oh, he comes in bondage there. I've never actually played through this game. This has been a game I've wanted to play, but Birdo. You kind of like Mario 2. So much of like modern Mario characters and stuff come out of this game that started here in this kind of like off the beaten path. I don't know why they don't team up with Square and like just make this a continuous franchise, just like they do with the Rabbids games with Ubisoft. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of Geno here. I think I'd really like this game, and now that it's got a modern, like, there's no reason. I am going to play this game. Let me look it up. Long to beat. So, if it's like the original game, it should only, it says 17 hours or 17 and a half. It'll probably take me 30, but, it's not bad for an RPG. Not like all these new ones that are like 80 hours.
What do you mean? Let's take a peek.
Donkey Kong?
That's right. Princess Peach will star as the main
Oh,
character in a
Princess
brand new
Peach game.
When she steps on this particular spot on stage.
Her model looks very Toy Story in this.
Whoa. What on earth is happening? That's all we'll show for now. We'll share more
Cinderella?
details at a later date. Mr. Koizumi.
Mario's copying Sonic again. We're gonna have the storybook series starring Peach.
A visually enhanced version of Luigi's Mansion
What?
Dark Moon, originally released on Nintendo 3DS,
Oh.
is in development. We hope you look forward to seeing more of Luigi's ghostly antics.
Okay, I think they already did the GameCube one, so,
Mario,
and they've done the new one, 3 on here.
Luigi.
So I think this is bringing like all the games on here.
Forward to. More
Okay, those are
details
next
will be
year.
shared in the future. All right, let's see some more headlines. Become Gotham City's ultimate.
A lot of Mario. But we're at the middle, so does that mean they're gonna close out with Metroid or Donkey Kong? Those are my guesses.
Much to discuss. I want
I
you
think
to know the
Zelda just came out, but you don't want that as a finisher.
is the beginning of the end for you, Dark Knight.
Okay, Arkham Trilogy. I'm gonna say the exact same thing when they did this on the Wii U. I'm finally gonna play this,
Make an entrance.
Welcome to the madhouse.
these games look interesting.
Today is the Joker's big homecoming, and you're the guest of honor.
Soon I will command forces beyond.
And I'll probably think about it and never buy it. But this is like the perfect opportunity for me to play it. A lot of people view these as like the definitive Batman, or taking the Nolan Batman and make him a little bit more comic booky, which I'm all for. All DLC, okay, and complete. Okay, weird Joker droided out.
Don't be a stranger. You're always welcome here.
Penguin.
Arkham Trilogy launches on Nintendo Switch.
It's just funny, they're not really showcasing the Riddler, but I know he plays a big role in this,
Cards right. Mercenary.
in some of the Arkham games, and that would be one of the things that would get me most interested in it.
Dungeons in the lands of
I don't know, maybe.
Your tactical prowess is all that stands between riches
Card game?
and certain death. This adaptation of the hit board game features turn
Okay, yeah, not for me, but I'm sure somebody will like it. But
doom upon your foes. But
You know, that Batman thing, they don't say it, but that's basically a Wii U port of the Wii U trilogy remaster onto Switch now. It's kind of funny because those games are really well loved, but Nintendo's already had an HD trilogy remaster on their system. But that's a PS3 games. I don't know. It doesn't feel like something that needed to be in a direct. But it's cool. I like Batman, you know, and it's a game that I keep saying I should try, but that Just Dance 2024. Keep saying I'm going to get a Just Dance game from my wife, but you know, music in the world is just getting weirder and weirder that I'd want like a Just Dance 90s edition or something. I don't know, or 80s. I don't think I've ever had Latin K-pop in... Okay, I don't like that. I might get my wife a Just Dance game and play it with my wife and daughter, but I'm not getting 2024. Like, this is like the least hype any one of these trailers are. Like,
Lies in a world without words.
Miley.
One day, a once peaceful realm was silent.
Zero hype there. Zero hype there for Just Dance. I know it's like an obligatory thing they have to have, but that's no.
In this action RPG, these heroes bound by fate must
Kingdom
work
of
together
Stormwater.
to explore the abyss and find the secluded king.
I'll turn the fan back on for a few
With
minutes.
its ever-changing dungeons and powerful foes,
It's already hot.
the abyss will
It's
be
first thing in the morning and it's already hot.
wield weapons like swords,
The sun barely just rose.
and more to survive this deadly chasm.
Summertime.
After you return to base,
Yep.
the materials you've collected will help you cultivate resources and forge new items.
Is this indie or Square
A
Enix?
race into the abyss will enable you to grow stronger and dive deeper.
Can you hear me?
Your guide on this journey is the kingdom's sorrowful princess, encased in a crystal of her own tears. And through a mysterious power, her voice reverberates in the hearts of the silent warriors.
It's these chibi RPGs. Like, at first they were kind of interesting,
Warriors in the depths of the abyss.
you know,
Silent hope.
before, like, they were chibi because they were like 8-bit, and now like they're translating that into modern of just making these
In these
the
Nintendo
chibis. But
Switch games,
Exceed,
spells and cultivate your best life in Fate Farm.
Sparks.
Make use of magic to complete tasks and fend off mischievous foes. Enrich your farm to help
Couldn't
your
we just look at
character
this, please?
flourish.
Yeah,
Decorate
this
your
is different.
space to
No,
improve your stats for the day ahead.
more,
Enchant your
more.
friends
No.
locally or online in 4-player co-op. Fate Farm launches as a console exclusive on Nintendo Switch September.
But I got some cool Mario games. So
Pre-orders, including an in-game bonus, are available
this
now
is,
on Nintendo eShop.
you know, you put this stuff in the middle, but they're just right about at a point where they've kind of lost me. So they really need like the next thing they show to maybe
130 vehicles
punch it up.
and pull off outrageous stunts to avoid obstacles, find shortcuts, and knock your rivals
This
out
looks
of the way.
fun.
Unleash your creativity by modifying your vehicles and building your own tracks.
I like silly arcade racers. I mean, maybe that's a Sega fan of me, but like,
Up to 12
racing games now are too much about being realistic,
the wheel.
and sometimes you just want absurd fun, huge jumps, fun. You know,
Get your chassis
I feel like the '90s race car games were just so much more fun. Now it's all
and toss it over. Repair vehicles quickly to
Mechanic
earn
Sim.
points in solo play or 4-player co-op. Watch out for treacherous pits.
That's that cooking game, not Cooking Mama, but
Manic Mechanics launches first for
and you know what?
Nintendo Switch July 13th. Pre-orders begin
Yeah,
today
that's
on Nintendo eShop.
that's basically that cooking game as a mechanic. I wonder if it's the same developer. or if like somebody's just changing it. Okay, so Mario Sparks of Hope.
Filled with new areas to explore,
I haven't had the time to play through this game,
enemies to battle.
and there's already been paid DLC. So what is this?
This new DLC,
Yeah, this looks very different.
launches later today. A demo of the main game is available now on Nintendo eShop.
Turn the fan off. This is cool.
You really think you stand a chance against us?
Well, I have the game. I just need to play it. Dragon Quest.
You intend to take arms against me? Very well. You are now cursed, unable to harm monsters. What? What the?
You're going to have to become a monster wrangler.
Yep, Dragon Quest. Man, if you're an RPG fan, this is a good direct. You know, that's been a lot of the directs lately. Have been really into RPG heavy.
The so-called hero.
Dragon Quest Monster. Okay, that is what it is. End stinger.
That was Dragon Quest Monsters, the Dark
That is
Prince.
probably a recognizable character, but I know nothing about that franchise really.
What kind of journey will you take to become the master of monster kind? Please be on the lookout for more info in the future. Next, we have more news on a certain game with plant-like creatures.
Plant-like creatures.
Welcome to the Rescue Corps.
Oh, this is our Pikmin.
You'll venture to a mysterious
This is what they said was going to be the main game of the thing.
There, you'll meet plant-like creatures called
Pikmin's fun enough, but I've never been able to get into it.
the adorable rescue pup,
It's
Ochi.
like I got the game on the Wii U,
Your mission, should you choose to
put maybe 8 to 10 hours into it, and thought that was really fun,
castaways you find.
and then never played it again.
Let's explore
I just,
together. Once plucked,
it's kind of an RTS. I love RTSs, but it's kind of like an exploration game as well,
grow your little buds at
which is kind of the one thing of RTSs I don't like. I like
Ochi will also
resource management and all that kind of stuff, and like having all your guys doing stuff and slowly, managing stuff. Roller Coaster Tycoon, Age of Empires, StarCraft, that kind of stuff.
rotation device. Well,
Pikmin is very much like
Ochi can even
the
stand
campaign
out to the
modes.
wildest creatures.
You have to like explore the map and go into the dark forest.
Collect
It's
lots
very
of
much what Pikmin's like, and it's the one part of an RTS that I'm not fond of,
radar.
and that's
Open
really
up
all
new
that
areas to
Pikmin is.
explore.
It's
Isn't limited to the
too
surface,
much
though.
of
Why not
micromanaging.
take the plunge underground?
If I could tell, like these Pikmin over there, you go work on fetching this, these Pikmin over here, from a top view, that would be more my speed.
Native creatures. And even more
But I do like the strategy of it. I don't hate it.
You might unexpectedly find some castaways too.
I just don't love it. You know? And it's kind of like I've
Wait a minute.
played one.
This
Okay.
leafy individual just nabbed the castaway. You've got to stop him. It's time for a Dandori battle. Embrace the art of Dandori by strategically issuing commands to your
that?
Pikmin and Ochi. Collect more objects than your opponent within the
Dandori
time
battle.
limit to win, and save the castaway. By rescuing castaways, you'll be able to do more activities back at base camp, which is right items to help make exploration more manageable. For the first time in the Pikmin series,
Ochi just feels like they took the dog from the Yoshi games.
expeditions. But there's a catch. Nightfall sends creatures into a frenzy, so stay alert. Thankfully, you'll come across the new glow Pikmin, which only appear at night. Find luminals that produce valuable glow sap. These
That's
mounds
kinda
also
cool.
attract various wildlife, so use glow Pikmin to drive them away and protect the luminals. Many more surprises await on this uncharted planet. But with the Pikmin and Ochi by your side, no challenge is too big or too small. Pikmin 4.
Pikmin is just kind of like a good solid B franchise for Nintendo.
Before sundown.
You know,
However,
Pikmin,
in this latest entry, you can
Splatoon,
now venture out at night.
they're just kind of like, they're not the Marios, they're not the Zeldas, the Pokemon.
We have even more Pikmin news
They're
to
not
share.
even Donkey Kong. I would probably put Kirby in that B tier too, though I like Kirby better.
Two Pikmin games originally released on Nintendo GameCube.
Really?
Launch on Nintendo
Are they
eShop
announcing
later
Pikmin
today.
5? Oh,
Plus, ahead of the game's release, a demo of Pikmin 4 will be available on Nintendo eShop on June
Oh, okay.
28th.
so
Demo can be enjoyed
you have time to buy those now.
Pikmin series
Well, 4 comes out later, right?
out when it releases.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's see a few more headlines.
Is that when the demo releases or when the game?
The renowned series of stealth action games is infiltrating the
Sorry, I
Nintendo
talked over that.
Switch as Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. This compilation includes
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear
This
Solid
is a collection?
Infiltrate and regain control of Shadow Moses Island.
Volume 1.
Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. Locate and retrieve a deadly amphibious weapon.
Another franchise that I never got into. Like, this was like early PlayStation. Everybody was all about this franchise.
Also enjoy the games
PS1 and
that started the
PS2.
series, Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, as well as the NES versions
No
of
Twin
both
Snakes?
Metal Gear and Snake's Revenge.
It's the one I know everybody's like crazy about.
This compilation also contains the first Metal Gear Solid digital graphics
Such a
novel.
different game. It's amazing it goes from that to this big epic, from the Metal Gear games to the Metal Gear Solid games.
Story and character info
Like, there was no in between.
and a digital
That
soundtrack.
that to me is like, but yet the story flows from them.
Master Collection Volume 1.
That's just kind of.
Nintendo Switch.
I don't think there's any other property that does it like that. That goes like, oh hey, we were this, and then like, boom, we were this much bigger, much more like.
Also be available separately on Nintendo
You know,
eShop.
usually you have like the progression of growth.
It's time.
It would be like if like, I don't know, Bonk suddenly got like this huge Mario Odyssey level 3D platformer.
What it takes to survive a 30-minute onslaught of monsters. Stay on the move to avoid enemies and attack automatically with your weapons. Seems easy at first, right? But swarms of
yeah.
increasingly stronger monsters will appear the longer you survive. By getting treasure chests from defeated enemies or by leveling up, you'll acquire weapons and upgrades for your character.
Here's the thing, this is not an indies, correct?
Plus, up to 4 players can now
And they're not calling out the people as an indie company.
what other horrors lie in
But this looks like an indie game. So this is some AAA studio
Survivors launches
playing indie?
Switch system August 17th.
I don't know.
Music and pigeons? Sounds pretty cool.
Like Ponicle.
You're a pigeon. Yeah,
Not
you
for
heard that
me.
right. Play online in this rhythm battle royale. and
What?
aim to be the last bird
A
standing.
pigeon simulator? Like Goat Simulator?
Players
Oh,
can ruffle each
no.
other's feathers in musical minigames. Copy
It's a
players'
rhythm
actions
game, I
verbally
don't know.
in Yes, Commander. Fire a slingshot to play music in First Piano Shooter.
This is like Minions, Rabbids,
Fly to the rhythm
Interesting.
Veered way off script.
Oh.
She's managed to make some powerful enemies and a newly animated friend in this 3D
Interesting looking.
adventure from the team behind Sonic Mania. You'll explore the bright and colorful world of Macaroon and help Penny and Yo-Yo escape the clutches of the
Whoa.
crazy Emperor Eddie. Perform stylish acrobatic tricks to avoid Eddie's massive
Okay, we
horde of
really need to look at this.
penguins. And power up Yo-Yo to protect Penny from foul play. You can also put your speed running skills to the test in time
This
attack
kind of reminds me a little bit like,
special items.
although it's more simplistic than Hat in Time, but more like the animation is more.
Take the stage when Penny's Big Breakaway launches on Nintendo Switch early next year.
I mean, this very much looks like it could run on the Dreamcast.
5.
Here we're gonna theorycraft because we've learned that they were gonna work on Sonic Mania and then they didn't. How much you want to bet they were working on a Sonic Adventure Mania or Mania Adventure type style thing, and then that fell through.
From Mario Kart 7,
Man, Piranha Plant.
and from Mario
This is just the game that just keeps on going. But this is great. I love this. I hate that they stopped supporting Smash. I would love if, like this game, that all of a sudden Smash Ultimate started getting more DLC characters.
this summer.
You know, we gotta get Gino in there.
Online Plus expansion pack members can enjoy this DLC at no additional cost.
Booster Course Wave 5. Is that the final wave?
Its own.
Can't remember.
2 worlds, 1 fateful encounter. A remake of the second Star Ocean game, complete with new graphics that fuse 2D and 3D, is on the way. After a mission goes wrong, Federation Officer Claude is stranded on an undeveloped planet. There, he meets Reina, who possesses mystical powers. Was it fate or mere coincidence? Soon after, the two get entangled in a sinister plot.
The art style in this is very interesting.
In this science fantasy RPG, select either
Like,
Claude or Reina
A second
as your
ago,
hero
this was like
and
sci-fi
decipher the story
spaceships.
from their perspective. You'll also meet over a dozen potential allies from all walks of life.
Science fantasy RPG like that, like Fantasy Star type stuff, like this.
Decisions you make will have an impact on
That's kind of my gram. Like I'm not a big, I'm not a big Final Fantasy, but Fantasy Star, where it's like it's sci-fi fantasy, like that to me always appeals to me.
new combat features in this remake.
You know, like it's happening on alien worlds and stuff like this. There's fantasy elements, but
Not in your current party, unleash follow-up attacks, letting you map out strategic battles in your favor.
this is interesting.
As you search for a way home, an ancient prophecy will unfold, and your destiny
Probably not going to play it, but this is actually interesting to me.
in Star Ocean: The Second Story R, launching on Nintendo Switch November 2nd. It's time to move it, Wario style. Get ready for more micro game mayhem in the latest WarioWare game.
WarioWare, a lot of Mario properties in this.
Controllers, then action.
I've never
Move your body to take
I like
on
Mario Party, but WarioWare is just they're too short to me to feel like a fun game.
And how you move depends on the micro game. React quickly with the right movement, and you'll be on the road to victory.
No, I played it on Game Boy Advance,
If you've
so
got 2 pairs of controllers, play with a friend and
maybe with a big group of friends it would be different.
to beat each micro
But
game. Plus,
I find
players can
Wario a bit crude, so
various
he's not
games in party mode.
he's not really a character I care for now.
Board game is gonna keep you
If we got Waluigi Ware game,
body moving in over 2
Waluigi.
class micro games. In WarioWare, Move It, launching on the Nintendo Switch system November 3rd. Pre-orders begin today on Nintendo eShop.
Why aren't you saying anything? He was so into it, I didn't want to interrupt. Anyway, this is the latest WarioWare game.
He's such a
You'll use your
goof.
entire body to strike different poses and complete microgames. We have a few more things to share.
Families can join the fun at Nintendo Live 2023.
Okay.
Play games.
Wrapping out. We're almost at the
Enjoy
end here.
live performances. Take photos with some of your favorite characters and more. Plus, cheer on your favorite players in 2 championships. Eligible attendees can also compete in on-site tournaments and participate in a last chance qualifier. This all-ages celebration is free and will take place September 1st through 4th in Seattle, Washington. Registration for Nintendo Live 2023 ends June 22nd. Head over to the official website and enter the random drawing for a chance to receive tickets. PAX West badge holders interested in attending can visit the official PAX West website for more details. Those not selected will have another
But that's
chance
like
to attend
right now.
free challenge cup.
It's not time to enter a drawing and win.
Get tickets. Please visit the official website for more details. See you there.
Okay, July and August.
A vast
Still,
number of
like, the other
players
one's like a couple
are
days
enjoying
away.
their time in Hyrule in The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which released last month. Thank you all very much.
Are we actually ending with Zelda DLC?
An amiibo figure of Link from the game was released to coincide with the game's launch.
Some people praise this game, other people don't like it,
Are planned to be released this holiday.
and people retroactively are now like coming out of the wormworks that didn't like Breath of the Wild, but it was like almost universally praised when it came out.
Please take a look.
Oh, okay, so that wasn't the end.
Onward and upward.
But watch it be Zelda. What is this? Looks funky. Okay, it was a squished one. Another new Super Mario Brothers game? This does seem to have more character than the last few do. Where it has all the words popping up. Just like Sonic, he's got to go up water. If that's actual game animation, that's kind of cool. It kind of feels like Mario Galaxy. Mario goes trippy. Okay, that's kind of weird that in Mario, it's some other thing that makes you go trippy, but you eat mushrooms and you just get regular lives. You found a Wonder Seed. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. But it's not new Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Which is funny that they dropped the new. Because I saw a lot of people like upset, but like the art's a little different and it's a little more expressive, but to some extent it does feel in a lot of ways like new Super Mario Brothers to me. Like there's enough new, but like you would expect as a franchise develops that like this would still just be, you know, the next iteration of that. Creates the house. Course cleared. Super Mario Brothers Wonder. They're specifically trying to get away from doing that. Oh, one last little bit here. What are we going to see? Well, that's a weird power-up.
That was the brand new 2D side-scrolling Mario game, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. When you touch a Wonder Flower, expect the unexpected. The ground could start
He
moving.
just turned into an
You might
elephant.
turn into something different, for example.
There were also
Like,
flowers talking.
not an elephant suit,
Daisy is playable,
like a cat suit.
and Mario became an elephant at the end. A lot of things happened.
Very Mario
Details
Odyssey.
in the future, so we hope you'll
Like when he would take over something and you'd see it, but like it was like an elephant.
Today's Nintendo Direct.
it's very Horton Hears a Who. You know, you see Wonder. I think Wonderland. I think like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think Alice in Wonderland. But he seems like Horton Hears a Who. So I'm seeing there. I'm kind of seeing Dr. Seuss. So maybe that's what they're going for. Like, ooh, it's going to be like super whimsical and like weird. Not that Mario isn't already whimsical, which is always kind of interesting. They did that in Ruby recently, where like, oh, they did like Alice in Wonderland in Ruby for Ruby Season 9. It was like, oh yeah, this is all your fairy tale stuff like that. But then they was like, no, this is going to be fairy tale, and it's going to be weird and trippy and not really have grounded rules to the reality that we're used to. So that's kind of what that seems like taking, okay, Mario's already kind of weird, you know, you have floating platforms and stuff, so how do we make something that seems trippy from a Mario standpoint so that we can say this is the even more whimsical world that Mario's going into than his already whimsical world. You know, I asked at the beginning for side scrollers, and I got some side scrollers. I got to see some more Sonic Superstars. We got to see, you know, Super Mario Wonder. I don't know why it's not Wonderland, and it's just Wonder. I think Wonderland, you know, you had Kirby with the Dreamland, and Wonderland seems like it would have been a better title than just Wonder. But that's interesting. I'm interested in that. I like that we saw that there was Daisy was playable. You know, it's interesting. We got Amy playable there, and we got Daisy playable there. You know, Pinkman and the Pokemon stuff and the Mario Kart, like some of those things don't really move the needle for me, but I know that they do for a lot of fans. The Super Mario RPG, big. I feel really bad that I'm not up to date. I didn't for the Ubisoft Mario game, the Mario plus Rabbids Spark of Hope or whatever it is. You know, I got that game. I've never played it. I never finished the last game or bought the Donkey Kong DLC, which looks amazing, but I never bought it because I never finished that game. These games are great, but I don't have the time to play them. And you know, but I love them, and so I want them to keep making them. So like, I feel like I need to buy these DLCs. But those were kind of interesting. There were a few things that like stood out, like the Batman thing, the you know, some compilations like that. There was that like play as a cartoon that was interesting for the art style or whatever, but like Just Dance was a big fail. You know, but the Batman collection, and there was the Metal Gear Solid collection. You know, probably not gonna play them, but like I can see like having that stuff on the Switch, having it on the go, those franchises is kind of cool. I would really love for like the Genesis, Super Nintendo, and NES Batman games to be put into a collection, like they've done with like the Turtles and stuff like that, and Mega Man. Like, because just like I would love that for the Star Wars games, I would love for them to re-release the Super Nintendo Star Wars games. I have a lot of nostalgia for some of those side-scroller licensed properties. Like, I love the Genesis Toy Story game. Like, that 3D modeling on that, like that game was, I spent way too much time on it. I had a blast with that game. I think there would be a value in re-releasing, kind of like they did with like the DuckTales and Rescue Ranger games and Quackshot and all that. They recently did a Disney Rewind thing, and they did a thing where it was like the Lion King games and stuff like that. I would love to see Warner Brothers do like all the old Batman games, like do NES, SNES, and Genesis. I think if they did that, like a collection of all those, it'd be cool. Now, the problem is like the game companies are probably all different companies. Like one company probably made it on the Genesis, another company made it on this, and then like the one that did like the Batman and Robin one is probably a different company than whoever did like the Batman Returns. And but the Turtles were made by different companies, and some of that so it should be possible to license out that stuff. The same thing with like some of the Disney games. They do the Nintendo and the Genesis version, which are made by two separate companies. So if it's being published by Disney or Warner or whoever, they should be able to license that out from each of the developers to make that compilation. Whereas like, yeah, if Capcom does their licensed games that they did back, like they can't have their competitors' games from the other system on that compilation. But if like Disney or Warner Brothers does it, they can license out from everybody because they're the co-license owner of those games. So that was a good direct. I think it was a good direct. Pokemon was not a good one to start out on. I would have liked a little bit more hyped of a trailer at the beginning. But I think that's just because I fell off of these Pokemon games, and it's kind of weird to want a more retro style Pokemon game that's new. I really should go back and play like Ruby Sapphire or something like that, because that's the only way I'm going to get that. Even though that was kind of when I was falling off. I was getting married. I didn't have time for Pokemon anymore right at that time. But yeah. But, I got some games that I was interested in, more Sparks of Hope, DLC. We got new Sonic coming, more look at that. I've got, my Mario Wonder that looked good, and Mario RPG. More Mario Kart players coming. A lot of good stuff. This was a good direct. And I think it hit enough points for a lot of different people. But I do feel like it was just a little bit too RPG heavy. And that has been a complaint I've had of like the last 3 directs. So I'm kind of over that. But it's just a little bit. Okay. With that, hope everybody enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video.